What's going on, guys? I've waited a whole year for this, but I'm finally bringing back my Halloween double feature. Yoink! Schuller, baby. Bam! For tonight's Halloween double feature, we will be watching Wes Craven's The Serpent and the Rainbow, Bob Clark's Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and pairing it with Clown Shoes' Beast from the Far East. This is Wes Craven's The Serpent and the Rainbow. Got my trusty Clown Shoes bottle cap opener. Now this is Beast from the Far East, an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels and Vietnamese coffee by Clown Shoes. Cheers. How is it, man?
It's great, man. Wow. You really notice the coffee a lot. Not in a bad way. It's not like overwhelming or anything. It's super, super smooth.
And without further ado, Wes Craven's The Serpent and the Rainbow. So Schuller, have you seen this movie before?
No, I haven't. I've heard the name, but I've never seen it.
You're in for a treat. Alright, so this movie, I remember when I was a little kid, my dad had this recorded on VHS, and I snuck to watch it one of these days after school, and man, this movie scared the shit out of me. I was traumatized for a good while, but this one grew to be one of my favorites, and then I learned that it was inspired by actual events, so this adds to the creepiness of the movie. Wes Craven's The Serpent and the Rainbow. So we just finished Beast from the Far East by Clown Shoes. Now we're trying Ballast Point Sculpin IPA. Bye, Felicia.
Well, she sure can't tell us anything.
So, Schuller, what do you think about Ballast Point Grapefruit Sculpin IPA?
I like it a lot, man. It's actually really citrusy, like really grapefruity, but I like that a lot. You know, like I'm big into like citrus IPAs.
Yeah.
So this one really hits the spot.
I know this is not too bitter.
Mm-hmm. No, it isn't.
This is pretty smooth.
It's super smooth.
Yeah, man. Cheers. I think people forget that Bill Pullman is actually a really good actor, and this movie proves it. This is one of his most underrated performances. I mean, when people think of Bill Pullman, they think of Casper, Independence Day, stuff like that, but The Serpent of the Rainbow, this is one of his, I'd say, top performances. And this scene right here proves it. Alright, Schuller, so we just finished watching Serpent and the Rainbow. What are your thoughts on it, man?
Yeah, that was pretty fucking crazy, man.
For it being based on actual events?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, if that was based on actual events, that's like, I'm never going to Haiti.
Like I said, this movie kind of scarred me as a kid.
I can see why.
I guess you can see why.
Yeah.
And then finding out it was based on actual events. Man. That was a crazy one.
Oh yeah.
Up next, we got Bob Clark's Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Most people forget Bob Clark started off in the horror genre, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things being one of the first ones. And then one of the original slasher movies, Black Christmas. But I think people might recognize his work with such comedies as Porky's and A Christmas Story. And we will be pairing this movie with Tangerine Express IPA by Stone. Gotta get that good head. Did I get that good head? Oh yeah! Let's get that good head.
It's party time. It's the shank of the evening. My friend Orville and I are having cocktails in 10 minutes at my island cottage. Strictly informal.
Wait a minute, you can't do that.
Oh, but I can.
Yo, so Schuller, believe it or not, I bought this movie at Suncoast. I don't know if you remember that name?
Yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Suncoast. Remember when we had those?
Yeah, at the mall.
I don't know if there's still Suncoast that exist, but I bought this one at Suncoast way back in the day.
Wow. It's a relic.
So it's the end of the movie. Schuller baby. Final thoughts. Last thoughts.
It's crazy to see something like this that came out in the early 70s. You know,
Yeah.
like I can see how this movie inspired a lot of like 80s and 90s thriller zombie movies. You know? Really, really crazy.
Coming from the 60s, you had George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. And then here you have Bob Clark's Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Yep.
This was this has to be one of my favorite underrated zombie movies that probably nobody's ever heard of. Rarely people talk about this one, but this is one of my favorite ones. You know, there's a certain 90s movie that if you listen to the DVD on commentary, it was inspired by this movie. And that's one of the ways I learned about this movie. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. That movie happens to be Idle Hands. Another badass movie. I believe I featured that one last year in my Halloween double feature. But this one is a badass movie right here. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. This concludes this week's Halloween double feature. Stay tuned next week for an all-new Halloween double feature. Cheers.